Okay, the techniques of Bernie Mac. We're going to break down his performance on funerals. I'm going to leave the entire link in the description box, so if you want to watch it without my interruptions, that's where you can do so. We're going to cover escalation, comparisons, and act outs, which Bernie used so well. And we're going to watch the footage in split screen, and I'm going to break down each of these sections, each of these tools of comedy. And we're going to discuss just how he used them so effortlessly and in such an iconic way that only he could. So let's get into it.
I tell like this, I'm telling what you scared to say. So I don't like no bullshit. That's why I tell you something else I like. I hate funerals. Black funerals. Oh, black funerals make me sick. I'm sick of them some bitch. I ain't going to another funeral. I ain't going to mine.
Boom, already. So he's, again, like a lot of the old school comedians are excellent at this. They say the same thing multiple times, right? I've done many like breakdowns on this channel, and what's happening in the old school guys, they say a sentence, they say a different version of the sentence that's slightly more exaggerated, a different version again that's even more exaggerated, and then they top it all off with an absurd ending that's inevitable to find funny, that you're going to laugh. And like Bernie's got that intensity, and Richard Pryor doesn't have much intensity, but all these guys are using the same technique. I'll say something and I'll say it again and I'll say it again. And Bernie finishes here by saying, I ain't even going to mine. He's not even going to go to his own funeral because he doesn't like them. And it's because he's setting up the premise. It's also a character. He's also setting up, this is the premise we're entering. He's stating his character, and he's also, in doing that, he's stating the premise, right? Two things. He's letting you know his frustration. Now, if we're comedians watching the channel, it doesn't matter if it's frustration or anger or happiness or whatever it is. We can state our character as well as stating the premise and then setting them up for jokes afterwards, every single time. So I'll tell you what you're scared to say. What an opinionated thing to lead with. I'll tell you what you're scared to say. I'll say it. I'll say all the things you're afraid to say. And then he states something. I hate black funerals. And from there, he explores that idea. We're never going to leave it. Why would we? It's already set up crystal clear in the audience's mind. And then from there, he continues. If you're interested in long deep dives and stand-up comedy courses, I urge you to check out the Patreon. It's the best way you can support the channel, and it will level up your stand-up comedy career. All the information is in the description box. Drop down, check it out. If you want to join, I would love to have you. All right, cheers.
I went to my cousin's funeral last week, man. That was the most aggravating experience I've ever experienced in my life. I told my wife I ain't going to no more funeral as long as I'm black. White funerals be just as normal. Coffin laying up there, they got white curtains all around. They're having in the daytime. You know, the one man be singing, Lord.
Wow. I mean, okay, so again, he's stating why he doesn't like something, right? He's going to tell you he doesn't like it. He tells you, and I don't like it. And he says a few ways in which he doesn't like it. And then he says the comparison, right? So it's a tool of comedy. Already into our tools of comedy here. What's he using? He's clearly using comparison, as he's going to use through this entire segment. It's pretty much comparison is 95% of all the jokes, and then there's some exaggeration going on, and there's some, there's some hard language in the exaggeration and escalation, but mostly comparison because he's comparing black funerals to white funerals, and that's the entire premise, right? And his frustration at black funerals is kind of like transitions, right, throughout, but most of the time it's comparison. So that's the comedian's tool. Like sometimes it's just important to write down these words and know what is it in our writing that we uncover. Why is that punchline so great? Because we're all able to write great punchlines, but sometimes we don't even know what tool we're using. So if we write down these words that's on the screen now and go through our set, we're going to figure out, that's why that joke works for me so well. I'm the kind of guy who leans into exaggeration. I'm the kind of guy who leans into misunderstanding in the classical way. So with Bernie here, it's going to be a lesson in how to do comparisons. Let's jump back into it.
My Father, Heavenly Father. And they close the coffin.
See how long he let it sit. See how long he let that singing go on for, right? And like, got a pretty sweet voice. And like, yeah, so you don't even need to have a sweet voice. Like he's leaning into the laughs all the time. There wasn't a second of any of his material that was like middle of the road. There wasn't a moment. There wasn't one moment where it wasn't out to get the maximum amount of laughs from the audience. Every single thing he did was in line with let's get the most out of the micro area we're in for the maximum impact of the audience. He wasn't thinking about, oh, well, I got this to say it, but then I'm going to transition into this. No. Let's set one idea up and explore it until there is literally nothing left. We've just rinsed it dry. There's no area left of this that we can get a laugh out of anymore.
And go about their fucking business. One day, black funeral, 3 fucking days. And when he died, the next day he got to take some clothes down there like he going some fucking way. Man, they lost my cousin. My cousin died last week. We had to go down to Mississippi to go to my cousin's funeral. Got to the funeral, boy, it was almost 4 or 5 other funerals. Because they lost the body. They wheeled that coffin up there. Opened the mouth, he said, that ain't my motherfucking son. You better find my motherfucking son.
So what in our writing can we, like, rather than just describing something, right? Because we're going to do that, right? We all go on stage and describe a thing because we want the audience to understand it so we can knock them down dead with a punchline, right? Brilliant. But what can we interrupt that flow with a thing that happened? So if it was, let's say we're creating Bernie's material here and we're writing down, okay, we got all the comparisons between the white funerals and the black funerals, and rather than going directly in, like we've just described a white funeral and we've done so in a very traditional way. How can we describe a black funeral if we interrupt the pattern and create this crazy scenario where, like, you know, they lost a body? Like, that is, anywhere you come from now, it's only going to be funny. It's inevitable because you've interrupted an already existing joke structure of comparison, and now you're going to interrupt with another tool of, like, absolute absurd angle perception of a funeral. They lost a body. And now, while describing just the chaos situation of what that would be like, he's also describing his exaggerated scenes of the funeral. Still comparison to the white funeral. So there's layered tools of comedy working alongside each other here. Yes, write down all these tools of comedy and see in your own writing, can you layer them on top of each other? Can you break up the structure and flow of your own set? Because if it's already working, especially in an area that's working, if the audience are laughing, and that means 2 things: they find your joke funny and they understand the setup. And if that's working, then don't dare think about leaving from that area. We go on stage and we have a great concept and the audience are laughing, and then we fuck off to someplace else and the audience have to reset because every time they have a new premise to understand, that's a reset. Bernie is stacking punchlines on top of punchlines on top of punchlines. Therefore, the laughs are only getting louder and louder and louder, along with his intensity in this tiny little bit. Still the same setup from when he went on stage and said, I'm going to tell you what, you know, as if what you're afraid to say, I hate black funerals. We're still there. We're still just after that sentence. It almost feels like that sentence was the last thing he said, because he hasn't said a whole lot. He's just morphed sentences and ideas and perceptions and points of view, and he's explored that one sentence, I hate black funerals. We're still there. We haven't moved an inch further.
before I blow this motherfucker up. Find my baby. Find my baby. They rolled that motherfucker out, brought in another body. It was him, but he had on black. And that was the wrong outfit that motherfucker had on. Monty, that ain't the outfit I bought him. He don't like black. He wouldn't be called Daddy Black. I bought him brown. Y'all better get some brown on.
So he's exploring this crazy scenario. It's still the same scenario. It's like, okay, they forgot the body. And let's say, like they lost the body, and let's say you wrote down, okay, what would it be like? Take it literal. What would it be like if they lost a body at a funeral? What would it be like if the wrong name was on the tombstone? This area of comedy has been done many times. The concept of a different name on the headstone, or in stand-up comedy, like how many times have we seen a comedy movie or show or opinion on stage, and you get up to the coffin and it's the wrong body in the thing, and maybe it's from the point of view where the person viewing to go and see the funeral of their loved one realizes they're at the wrong funeral. That's been done so many times, at different perceptions, and he's doing it from the point of view of the wrong body coming in. And all he's doing is exploring that single idea. He's writing out 10 ways in which that would be disastrous. What would people say? He's using act outs. He's jumping into characters to portray just how frustrated they are in the scene. And he's also doing it in the style of the stereotypes of that person, still connecting it in comparison to white funerals. So this is a long chain of stand-up comedy tools. So, like, of course, it's one of the greatest of all time, because, you know, talk about like depth in only humor. Nothing else. He doesn't have to paint an extra picture. He doesn't have to tell you any more information just because you might not be on the same page. You're not going to find it funny. Everybody finds it funny. They all know exactly what's happening because the premise hasn't changed. He's linking tools together and diving deeper and deeper into why this one idea is funny.
My baby. Closed the coffin, rolled him to the back. 3 minutes, came back, he was complete. She said, now that's my baby. How y'all change him so quick? He said, we just changed heads. That's all the fuck we did.
I mean, that's a bit, right? We change heads. Talk about escalation, right? So he's like, okay, so I have a premise. White funerals versus black funerals. I'm going to describe the white funerals. When we get to the black funeral, we're going to lose the body. Escalation. What does that mean? Check it out. Hate black funerals. They last 3 days. They lose a body. They dress him in the wrong clothes, and then they change his head. That is absolutely crazy escalation. You might, if you came up with this, you might think there's no way I can come up with they dress him in the wrong clothes. You might think even that is too absurd. It's too silly an idea to make work. It's stupid. And if you think that's stupid, will they change his head? How can that possibly be put into the world that you're trying to create on stage? But look at what Bernie has done this effortlessly. Yes, he's a better fucking comedian than you and me. But it still doesn't mean that we can't be at least attempting these ideas. There's nothing you can write down on that piece of paper that's too silly to say. Absolutely nothing. And Bernie has proven it. The idea of changing somebody's fucking head in a funeral to pass it off because he was originally wearing the wrong body and they just swapped it out. It's so absurd, but he's saying it in such a matter-of-fact way, always exaggerating, right? And still comparing it to white funerals. Like, look how far we've come in this absolutely absurd world that he's creating. And this all started with his cousin's funeral. Like, he went to, and it ends in the head was changed in the coffin. Like, when you really break it down like that, you can see just how absolutely crazy this scenario is. And yet, because of his intensity and his belief behind what he's saying things as if it were matter of fact. He's literal thinking with it, as if it were matter of fact. And you nearly go, there's a part of you, your brain in there, because you're told something so to your face that you go, oh yeah, okay. You don't even realize just how absolutely absurd it is.
I swear to God, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you. I ain't got time to lie to you. All that holler, I'd have changed heads too. Fuck him. He dead. He dead. What you keep sitting there, man? We got to sit there and watch this bitch for 3 fucking days. You got the wake you got to go to. You got to just sit there and watch this fucking body. And every now and then look like he breathing. Why they call it the wake? He ain't waking up.
And that's a whole section. Right? That's a whole bit. I mean, if any of us came up with just that little tiny section, we'd be happy with ourselves for the rest of our bloody career. Like, look, this is what we're always trying to do. This routine is a long routine. This is an entire bit. This is an entire performance, right? I only took a mere few minutes. What we're all trying to do, all of us, every single comedian alive today, we're all trying to get the perfect 5 minutes, right? And I mean, like, the perfect 5 minutes. George Carlin talked about this the whole time. He'll watch any comedian for 5 minutes because that's like, if you can do 5 minutes. And I mean a solid 5 minutes. I haven't even got to 5 minutes of this routine yet. I mean like a solid 5 minutes like this. This is what we're always trying to get. Don't be thinking, oh, I think I have 5 minutes. I can't wait to do my first 10-minute set. Or I got 5 or 10 minutes. I can't wait to do my first 20-minute set. No, forget about that. Zone in and make the 5 minutes the best, most fantastic 5 minutes you can ever make. Don't be worrying about longer sets, because if you discipline yourself to make better, shorter sets, you first focus on the best 2 minutes you can possibly make, and then you make the best 3 minutes, and you're only working towards 5 minutes. Like the majority of comedians who have 10, they really have 5, and of that 5, it could be stronger. So focus on the best 5 and pack it with as many jokes and as many opinion and as many tools of comedy linked in as much depth. That's the focus, as much depth as what Bernie is doing here. And then you can't go wrong. So don't be thinking about like, oh, I can't wait to do again. Oh, I run a longer set and asking bookers for longer time on stage. Oh, can I do a 7 instead of a 5? Because the truth is, you're probably not ready yet. And even if you are ready, you're wasting your time. Pack in more jokes at a 5-minute set and you can't go wrong.
Then, man, when a black person died, we sure like to tell how he died, don't we? Oh, we want to hear how the person died over and over again. How he died. Girl, I was rolling my hair, and all of a sudden I heard a thump. I came downstairs, he was on the floor. He was on the floor. He must have had a heart attack then. Yeah, he had a heart attack then. Because I was...
Yeah, boom. Okay, I'm going to stop it here, right? Okay, so what are we doing? We're act outs, right? And he sets up a premise. What's the new premise? We're still in the same idea. We're still the funerals. But now we're trailing away from just the black funerals. But it seems like we're still there. We've got to hear how he died. He doesn't say I was talking to somebody at the funeral. He doesn't really go into much about that. He understood. You already know. He goes, we have to hear about how he died too. We got to hear the whole story. He doesn't need to bring the character in if it's not going to set up the punchline. He wants to get to the punchline as quick as possible. He wants to get to the humorous observation as quick as possible. He wants to get to the act out as quick as possible. He sets it up. You have to hear about everything that happened to them as they died. And then he sets this story up. Straight into an act out, straight into impersonating someone, slight change on the voice, and it's all humorous. And then check out what he does here. Let's go again.
Rolling my hair. I was on the phone, I rolled my hair, and I heard a thump. When I walked downstairs, he was in the middle of the floor. I saw him dead.
Yeah, boom. It's the same thing. It's not even, he is maybe 3% escalated at this time. He's just said the same thing. And that is the joke. The fact that he said the same thing. Here we go again.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I never will forget. I was laying up there, I was rolling my hair. Well, I heard a thump. I came downstairs, he was laying by the sink on the floor.
And see, he's teasing us. He's giving us slightly more, and I mean slightly more, half a breath information more each time around he says it. And it's like, it's not even, it doesn't even add much more, but the fact that, you know, it's almost like you can imagine the scene of other people looking at this character he's created. Nobody's speaking and nobody's like, they all have to listen to this shit and this person's just waffling on and on and on. He's kind of painting that picture in your head, even though he didn't set that up. He's doing so with how he acts it out. He's thinking of, he knows the situation he's pictured, and just by being one of those characters, he can tell you in a very subtle way. And the whole joke that he's doing here, the only real joke, is escalation and adding no real meaning, and you all have to sit there and put up with it. That's the joke. The joke he's created for the character in his thing is the same joke that the audience are going through in real time.
About that the other day, I was rolling my motherfucking house. And him one dead. And I'm so tired of black ministers. Don't black ministers, I don't know what it is. Y'all got to explain to me why black ministers just can't read the word normally. And John said, he that's coming, thou shalt not. Why he just can't read the shit like that?
Now you know what's coming. You know what's coming. Everybody knows. Like he did the white impersonation. At the beginning of this routine, he did the singing. And you know it's coming. That's a subtle thing about this particular performance. I've always thought about this. He knows that the audience know he's going to do the voice. He's going to do the preacher style voice. You know it's coming. It's almost like oh, the band's gonna play the big hit at the end. His artistry is the fact that he's been able to make this entire premise, drag it out so much, and then he's going to reward the audience at near the end of this little bit by doing what they all know he's going to do. Because if you set it up and you are the priest at the white wedding and he sings the way that does, you know the alternative is finally going to come.
Why he gotta fucking growl at us all goddamn night? You know, Moses came walking by and said to the Pharisees, and come back and boom shakalaka. Man, if you don't shut the fuck up, all that fucking noise.
Boom. All right. Like, look at that. And another thing, that comparison of the comparison he's doing between his own act out, right, of full on with the voice and the preacher style, and then that break. And man, if you don't shut the fuck up, look at that comparison between those two characters. That alone in itself is a punchline. And then what he says on top of that, man, if you don't shut the fuck up, that alone is funny too. So by using the tools that I keep harping on about, because this whole channel, the whole channel I have on talking about fucking comedy is this. This is it. This is everything. This is the notation of stand-up comedy right here in front of you. This is how we communicate comedy to an audience. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world. Comedy is a universal audience. And if you speak in and create connections and ways of speaking to an audience in these ways, then that is how you do material like anyone on the face of the planet. Not as good as them, because that takes time. And some of us will never get there. I'll never be as good as Bernie Mac, but I'm okay with that. And I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, get the hell out of here.